Alright, hi, hello. This is a tutorial that I've been meaning to make for a while. I've just been kind of lazy. So this is going to focus on the func_tank entity, what it does, and how you can use it in your map. And also how to make sure that the Combine NPC will also fire it as well, because that's important for keeping your map alive, making it feel alive, and making it feel lived in and usable by the enemy. So we're just going to make some quick brushwork here and close off a room so we don't have any leaks when we go to compile it and test it later. Alright, we're going to save. Now, next thing we need to do is we need to make a stand. The stand doesn't have to be a brush. I just like to make a brush for easiness sake and seeing how tall it's going to be in relation. It could be anything. It could be a prop. It could be a model. It could be whatever you want it to be. I just like to make it a brush because it's easier to make it a brush than it is to make it a model, and you don't have to line up the brush. So we're going to keep it a little bit away from the wall, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So next thing we need is we need a prop_dynamic. Oh, that's not working. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So we have a prop_dynamic. We're just going to name this Combine Turret Model. Next, we need a world model for it. So we go to world model, we hit browse, and we're looking for props_combine/bunker gun 01. I don't believe there's any more bunker guns for this, but you know, we'll make do. I don't believe there's any more gun models besides the bunker gun that is used in this game. This is the model that is always used. It's basically just a mounted AR-2. Next, we're going to make a invisible brush. So we look for the invis texture, and we're going to displace this. Well, sorry, not displace. We're going to place this over the bunker gun as good as we can get it. You know, I'm not very picky. I'm just going to center this on there, center this on there. There we go. Now, this is going to be our func tank entity. And what this is going to do is we're going to parent this to the Combine turret model. And we're just going to name this Combine turret. Just like that. Oop, nope, don't want the model in there. Boom, Combine turret. We're going to hit apply. Now, we're going to talk very quickly about the flags. So the flags we have are ignore range when making view cone checks. View cone check is done every other tick or so. So like think of it like every other second. And it's going to check if the player or an enemy is in that view cone. When it does this, it's going to ignore the range. So basically, if you have minimum range set to like 250 hammer units, it's going to ignore that when it makes the check, and it's going to see the enemy at like 500 units, even though it technically shouldn't. I don't believe this is checked at any point in any of the Half-Life maps that I checked, so it's best to leave this unchecked. I don't know why you would check it. The wiki doesn't really say why you would check it, but just leave it unchecked. Aiming assistance is very explanatory. It's only for the player, and it's slight aim assistance to where it'll slightly lock the crosshair onto the enemy and wherever you're going to shoot. Active just makes this active. So it's one of the things that you can click or not click, honestly. It doesn't really have any bearing. And I'm pretty sure it's just left over from Half-Life 1, although the wiki doesn't really state that it is. Only direct is, I believe, left over from just original Half-Life. Oh, sorry. Only direct is that the tank will only fire if its target is in its direct line of sight. So, doesn't really matter if you click that. Controllable, we want this to be clicked because it means it's, well, controllable. This is only controllable by the player, by the way. So unchecking this or leaving it checked will not affect any NPCs to take control of it. Damage kick is basically if you take damage that you'll kick up or you'll kick in a random direction when you take damage. NPC controllable, we want to check that as well. That'll allow us to basically have an NPC control it, like a Combine or a friendly. NPC set controller, we don't need to worry about. The wiki doesn't really state what it does. If I had to guess, it's just something left over to easily set a controller to. Basically, like set a specific NPC to control it, basically. But we don't need to worry about that, and I don't think we ever worry about that, and it's never really checked in any of the maps that I checked. Allow friendlies to hit player is pretty self-explanatory. It allows the friendlies to deal damage with the turret to the player when shooting at an enemy. Sorry. Non-solid, we want to click that so we don't have any clipping issues with the brush itself, and so it won't look weird when the player jumps over it. Perfect accuracy every third shot at player. Again, self-explanatory. Every third shot that an NPC shoots at a player will have perfect accuracy. Okay, so that's all the flags. Let me just double check that we need to have checked. We don't need to worry about aim assistance. So we're going to uncheck active. There we go. Okay, so now we have our effective turret set up, but we need a couple things to make this actually controllable by the NPC. The first one is going to be an info target. And we're going to name this man point. Just man point. And I'll tell you why we're naming this man point in a second. But next, we need the actual Combine NPC. And we're just going to get a trigger entity. And cover that with the trigger. We're, of course, going to make this a trigger once. And we're just going to name this Combine trigger. Doesn't really matter what we name it. And then we want NPCs to be able to trigger. Well, we can click everything. Doesn't really matter. NPCs, everything, whatever. And now we're actually going to get the Combine NPC here really quick. So I believe only Metro Police and the Combine soldiers. The Combine elites, I don't believe can actually man these turrets. I don't think they have any animations for it, though I have not tested that. But it's best to just stay with a Metro Cop or a soldier, honestly. And then we're going to name this Combine Gunner. This will be the guy who shoots the gun. So, our output is going to be on start touch, and then we're going to look for Combine turret, and then we're going to scroll down. The turret has a unique input that find NPC to man tank. So when this trigger activates via the Combine, it'll find someone to man this tank. It's very recommended that you put a Combine like right behind, because it's going to search every Combine and they're going to have to pathfind it. I believe it selects the nearest Combine, so it's just good to spawn a Combine right behind it and just have the trigger very have this trigger where it finds it in a place where the player can activate it, so the Combine just naturally goes to the turret when it spawns in, or when a very specific thing happens, like, you know, the player places a trigger in a door, basically. That's a good thing to have. Okay, next, we're going to start doing all these parameters. These parameters are very important, but I only go off this one. This is from the Canals 07 level, the first level where this is actually introduced. And from looking at it, this basically is the only thing that is used throughout the entire game, basically. All these parameters are used constantly. So we're going to set them the way Valve sets them, because they're very specific and they're very finicky to get working. You're welcome to mess around with these parameters, but there's one parameter that has to be very specific, and when we get to it, I will explain it. So, first thing we need to do is we need to turn off Smart Edit and add bullet. Just bullet with the value of 3. I don't know why. I don't know what this does. The wiki doesn't say anything about it, but if it's what we got to do, it's what we got to do. Next, we go to control volume. Now, control volume is important, so we need to put down a control volume. Basically, this is the area where the player will stand to man the turret. So the player can't just man the turret from halfway across the world. And now, unlike the Combine, we're going to make this a trigger multiple. So when the player steps in, it's good. When the player steps out, it's not good. And so the trigger never dies when it's actually triggered, which will allow us to permanently man this gun until we kill this trigger, or, you know, a load happens or something. So we named our control volume. So all we gotta do is just find control volume. Boom. Team Master, we don't worry about. It's only for backwards compatibility with gold source. It doesn't do anything in source. Now, yaw rate is the speed at which you can go left to right. So we're gonna set this to be 200. Yaw range, we're gonna set to be 60. And this is the range at which, in a 360 degree angle, 360 degree circle, all the way around, we only have 60 degrees of freedom from left to right in total. So 30-30, give or take. Now, yaw tolerance, there's a slight tolerance of when you can go past. This is to make the turret feel more natural, so it doesn't feel like you're suddenly hitting a wall. You can just leave this low. If you want, you can make it high, but this basically just adds 15 more degrees where the turret will move more slowly and you'll feel more resistance instead of feeling like you just hit a wall. It's pretty good to have if you want it to feel natural. Now, pitch rate is up and down. So it's the same thing. Pitch rate is how fast it'll go up and down. The pitch range, again, in a circle is going to be 60. So up, down, 360 degrees in a circle is what we're looking for. We have 30-30 up and down degrees of freedom to match 60. Now, pitch tolerance. This is an important one. For some reason, I don't know why, but if your pitch tolerance is too low or non-existent, the Combine gunner will not man the turret. Every other value here could be 0, can be default, can be whatever you want it to be. But for some reason, if the pitch tolerance is too low or it's non-existent, the Combine will not man the gun. I don't know why. The wiki doesn't say why. And it's a very common problem with a lot of these tutorials that they don't touch upon when making a custom gun. And it's very important because, again, the Combine won't man the gun for whatever reason. His animations will work. He'll get on it. He just won't shoot. And I don't know why this happens, but it happens. Okay. So, barrel length and horizontal vertical is basically making where the bullets will come out. This is very good if you attach this to a brush, like a custom gun you want to make or a custom model, and you can line it up directly with the muzzle. So barrel length is going to be 31. You can leave this default, by the way. It's just the bullets won't naturally come out of the barrel of the gun, basically. Smoke sprite, pretty self-explanatory. It's a smoke sprite when the gun fires. Flash sprite is, again, self-explanatory. It's when the gun flashes. We don't have to worry about this because the gun will automatically do this when we set another value. Sprite scale is just the scaling of everything. Rotate start sound, rotate loop sound, rotate stop sound is basically the sound that's going to play when it rotates. Let me check really quick. Yeah, so Valve themselves don't even use this, so it's good if you want to have a brush, but it's kind of unused if you're using a model. Okay, now, rate of fire, pretty self-explanatory. It's the rate at which it fires. We're going to set that to 15. That's going to get set to 15. Damage per bullet is damage per bullet that the NPCs will either do to each other or the player can do to the NPCs. So we're going to set this to 26. And then we go to damage per bullet versus player. We're going to set this lower because 26 is pretty high. That means that if this Combine hits you 4 times with this gun, you're dead. We still want it to deal damage. We just don't want it to instantly kill the player, basically, because that's not fun for anyone playing a map or making a map. Okay, so firing persistence is, you know, like it says here, how long to keep firing at last known position after losing a sight. The firing persistence 2 is basically unused, but it's in seconds after lost enemy and persistence time has passed, how long to occasionally fire at enemy's last known position. These two are basically just suppressing fire. That's it. It's just suppressing fire. You can use it to make the world feel more natural, and it's used in Nova Prospect, but it's not used all that much. Now, bullet accuracy. We have perfect shot, small cone, medium cone, large cone, extra large cone. Again, self-explanatory. Perfect shot, bullet will go where it is, where you're aiming, exactly. Same with NPCs. And extra large cone is, it's just an extra large cone. We want to just leave that small cone. It's fine. Now, minimum target range, maximum target range. Maximum target range is going to be 2,500 because we want a max at which the NPC can technically see the player and shoot him. But we don't really want a minimum because it doesn't necessarily matter, right? Until we hit the trigger, until the Combine spawns in or something triggers the Combine to man it, it doesn't really matter. But we do want the Combine to be able to see the player, basically, from a certain amount of hammer units. Now, minimum light level is basically saying, can the Combine see in the dark? Can this turret see in the dark? So when you shine, it's really good for making a sudden trap. Or like, let's say, oh, there's a Combine in the darkness, and he's hiding. You know, you shine a flashlight on him, light level spikes up, and he starts shooting at you. It's good, but at the same time, I would recommend it because, especially in a dark area, unless you're using it for a sudden trap, if you shine a light over the Combine and then take it off, he'll stop firing, basically. That's what that does. Now, gun base attachment, gun barrel attachment, all these parameters are basically only if you're using a model with them, but it's still good to set them. So for gun base attachment, it's going to be aim rotation. All right. Then gun barrel attachment is going to be muzzle. I'm just going to copy that real quick. Gun yaw pose center, we're going to leave 0. And then I believe it's the pitch pose parameter. Yes, it's the pitch pose parameter. It's going to be aim underscore yaw. The gun pitch pose center. It's going to be 7.5. All right, next we are going to go to the ammunition count. It doesn't really matter. That's only for player. 1 equals unlimited ammo. If you want to have ammo, it counts per bullet fired. It's not really necessary and can be kind of annoying to the player. So just leave this unlimited. If you put it in, you should always put the turrets in a place where it does not matter if the player has unlimited ammo anyways. Lead target is self-explanatory. Will the NPC lead the target? It's pretty good for making it feel more alive. They use it in Nova Prospect on some of the turrets, but not all the turrets. It's decent. Now, here's where we get to the man point, the one that we set up earlier. We're just gonna just name this man point. This is basically telling the NPC where to stand to man the turret. So when this trigger fires, the turret's going to find a valid NPC. Once it's found the valid NPC, it's going to tell it to go stand at the info target we made earlier. That's pretty good. Now the post NPC attack grace period says right here, if specified, NPCs manning this funk tank won't fire at the player after firing at non-player for a certain amount of time. So basically, the Combine, if they're shooting at rebels, won't start firing at the player after all rebels are dead or if they notice the player. They will prioritize the player for the most part, so just be aware of that when making like Combine turrets shoot at rebels and all that. But if this is specified, it'll have a grace period before it starts to immediately shoot on the player. And then this says the player's grace period is ignored if the player is under this distance. So again, speaking on the grace period, if the player gets too close to the turret, the grace period will just be ignored to prevent the player from just running up and instantly killing a defenseless Combine, because that makes the world feel less alive. Player lock time is basically the player, like it says, must be on the turret for it to fire for an allotted amount of time. So player kills an NPC, takes control, we set this to 5, has to wait 5 seconds before he can fire. It's not really used. You could use it if you want, but it's not really used anywhere. Effect handling, just use the individual settings. And then ammo type, we're going to set this to AR2. It can be pistol, SMG, AR2, or heavy, Combine heavy cannon. We're just going to set it to AR2 because that's what it's set to by default. Alright, so everything is good with the parameters. We're just going to make a spawn really quickly. And give myself some pistol and pistol ammo so we can kill the Combine and make sure that it works. And then we're just going to run the map. We're going to fast compile it, make sure everything works really quick. Combine gets on the turret and starts shooting at us. Now, I will say that you should and can add animations so it doesn't look like this. The default turret has those animations on them, so you can just basically copy and paste those if you want. And we just test. Oh, look at that! We can shoot around at the turret. Wow, so cool. And that's all that is. So that's working. That's good. And I will show you really quickly what I mean by like all the animations. So if we click the Valve made turret, we can see on got controller, set animation active. This is basically just setting up all the animations to put onto this so it actually animates properly. And I actually forgot a setting. I think it's the gun yaw pose param. Yeah, okay, so I did actually forget some settings, and I apologize for that. Let's recompile this real quick. I apologize. I just mixed up the pitch and the yaw pose parameters. So Combine gets on the gun. And now he actively follows us with the gun. Sorry about that. I messed up that animation. So those are what sets the animations for the gun. And now the gun actually works. So we can look around with the gun, shoot with the gun, do whatever we want with the gun, kill the Combine with the gun. Alright, so that works. That's good. Now, I'm going to show you guys that we can also put this on a brush. So really quickly, I'm just going to copy and paste. All right, we're just going to copy and paste all these and just name them 2. This is just to show that, again, this can work with a brush, so I'm just going to do this really quickly. All right, we're just going to name this Combine Turret Brush. And let's just put the dev texture on it. And we'll make it a bit smaller so we know it's a gun. Oh, we'll make it a bit longer. Oh, sorry about that. It's not really letting me. There we go. Make the brush the size I want it to be. There we go. There we go. And then I'll just put like some iron sights on it. Just so we know it's a gun, basically. There we go. We're going to make this a funk brush because we can't make it a model. We're going to name it Combine Turret Brush. We're just going to make this also a funk brush really quick. And then parent it to Combine Turret Brush. Oh. There we go. Double check my names. Make this so it goes over the whole brush, like so. There we go. Alrighty, now we recompile and see if I did everything correctly. Alright, so it does shoot, it's just a little bugged. But so this is why you need to check to make sure that the muzzle is good before you can actually use it, or else you get this. But if you were to just normally apply this with just the default settings, you could use it. I'm just gonna get rid of this. So you could use that as a brush. It does work as a brush, as you saw. I kind of just messed it up, but if you take the time and put it on a whole bunch of stuff, then you can also do it. So, yeah, that's it. That's how you make a working Combine turret. And like I said before, if your turret, you set it all up, you customize it and everything, and the Combine doesn't want to fire, check your pitch tolerance. It cannot be below 10, I believe. So anything above 10 is good. Anything under 10 is not. The Combine won't. He'll man the gun. He just won't fire the gun, and he'll look all like glitched, like he's kind of brain dead. But yeah, that's it for this tutorial. I really appreciate you guys watching. And again, the VMF And I will also put the D1_canals_07 where you can get this exact turret, also paired up with some other animations so you can see exactly how Valve did it when you get on and off the turret and their triggers and all that. And I will just leave this here so you can copy and paste for easy map usage, and everything will be in the description. So if you got confused following this, you can see the final product and all of the stuff organized neatly. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.